How you doing? I'm Dr. Paul Dyer. Welcome. I'm just going to do a quick live show. We're coming off of the 4th. I'm just going to wait till a couple of things go online in case you guys have any questions that you want to ask me at this time. So if you just want to hold off for a couple of minutes, I hope you can do your prayers and your meditation and keep life very simple and beautiful. That is ultimately our goal in everything we are trying to do. It is to keep life very simple and very beautiful. And I know it's very tough for a lot of us because we're going through so much emotional turmoil. As you know, emotional science to me is very, very important. So hopefully this will get online here pretty soon here. How are you doing otherwise? If you have any questions or comments, you can always reach me at drpaulholisticscience.com. More than happy to take your questions, your concerns, your thoughts, because I think, believing or not, that unity creates peace, and in that unity, we have to find um, who we are and what we're doing, because I think that's where our dilemma is. We get so congested with understanding what I is and what I means, to find the overall I. You know, when there's been a text out there, when I and I's means you're with the Almighty Power. So I and I am with all things created, of all all God that creates. So, but when we talk about the word I, when we're referring to I, we're looking at ourselves as individualized, and that means separate from. And if you think of it being separate from, then you're going to have a tough time connecting to. That's where the suffering really comes in, is when you separate yourself from. We are part of a whole ecosystem, right? We know that. It's part of our evolution of a process and even of consciousness. So if we're part of our evolution of self, then you're not separate from all things. You're a part of all things. And being a part of all things means that you are in development of the communicative I. I think my internet connection's slow. Your development of the communicative I. The self I is not an I more than it is a finding of where. Does that make sense? When you are developing your where, who am I, right? Because that's the ultimate question when we're like, who am I? What am I? Where am I? It gets confusing because you're saying, well, if I am of self, then I am separate of. Well, no, you're not. You're connected to. A tree finds itself within itself, but it's part of a system. Understanding that you're part of a system. So be careful of your I, because it can cause suffering. It can cause pain. It can cause wanting, right? What do I want, right? That type of I, when you're using in that term, what do I want? Separate yourself from the ecosystem. And I'm not going to, explain what an ecosystem is, because you understand, but your body is a circulatorial system also. A lot of Western medicine when we separate our body parts and our emotions, we also seem to want to separate our actions when it's all part of one. The way you eat can trigger how you feel. The way you feel can trigger how your digestive is. The way your digestive is can contribute to how you are able to perform. How your performance is changes the way you think. How you think can change your performance. You see, it keeps going in this circle. So to develop the I means to understand that it is part of all things, in love, not in distress. Celebration, joy, love, they're not different because you are separated. Find yourself within love. Learn how to develop self-love, which is understanding of how we're connected in this system together. Now, I'm not going to shy away from the understanding of we've been having a lot of discussion on lives that matter. And I'll say this verbally. When I say Black Lives Matter, for me, my Black life matters. Life matters. All of life matters. All of life is. So we're getting into the weeds, and it's getting convoluted into, does one life matter over the other? We're not talking about life over another. We're talking about life that has been misused, mistrusted, and abused for centuries. Whether it be human trafficking, that's an abuse of life. Whether it be children suffering of all nations and all colors, that's an abuse of life. When there's homelessness, abuse of life. There are abuses of life because people are putting themselves over a power over system. Ecosystems are part of unity. Think about it. It's a part of how it grows together, not a power over system. If you're going to go into a power over system of what power is over power, then it is not a system, it becomes a systemic issue. I've never believed that as a black male that I had equal opportunity. But that's just my thoughts, my understanding, my history. Didn't mean I didn't work hard. Didn't mean I didn't choose to love, try, embrace, enhance, create, evolve. We have an opportunity. As we move forward, we evolve in the ecosystem, not a power over system. As we move forward, your I don't create the suffering and the separation of. Create the I of the internal I of understanding all things within is also the all things without, the external. I wish you well, God bless, and I know we'll move through this together. Through love, compassion, kindness, and understanding. Information, understanding, and we move to an action. I wish you all well as we move forward.